Hello, and welcome to Watching Washington. It's Friday, March 24th, and I'm Ashton Katie.
And I'm Jaden Rusi. We're back today to deliver you the latest national and global news.
Chinese President Xi Jinping arrived in Moscow this week to spend 3 days with Vladimir Putin. According to CNN, the meetings between the two leaders concluded with more than a dozen agreements bolstering cooperation in areas from trade, technology, and state propaganda. The centralized idea of the meetings was how the plan to move forward, strengthening the relationship between China and Russia. However, Xi Jinping and Putin failed to find a resolution to the ongoing conflicts with Ukraine. Additionally, the official statement released by China's foreign ministry, there was a lack of acknowledgement of Russia's involvement with the violent actions in Ukraine and prolonging the war.
As former President Trump faces potential indictment, Americans are wondering how this may affect his race to re-election in 2024. According to NPR, although there are no laws preventing candidates from running for office in the face of criminal charges, experts say an indictment could significantly impact Trump's chances of re-election. Trump currently faces 4 investigations related to his role during the January 6 riots, the classified documents found at his Florida home, tampering with the 2020 election in Georgia, and a hush money payment made in 2016 in an attempt to conceal an alleged affair with a porn star. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment prevents a person from holding office if they rebelled against the United States. But even this amendment may be overcome with a 2/3 vote from Congress.
Legal counsel at Justice has issued an opinion, it doesn't have the force of law, but it's an opinion of the Department of Justice, that it would be disruptive for the president to be indicted, that he or she can be accountable for acts after leaving office, but that it would be disruptive to the smooth functioning of government to have investigative activity, prosecutive activity while in office. Bob Mueller cited that actually in the Russia investigation. And his interpretation of that was not just he could not be indicted, but special counsel couldn't conclude affirmatively that he committed a crime because it would be unfair. There could not be a trial. He wouldn't have an opportunity to defend himself. But the opinion explicitly says that does not mean that that is a lifetime immunity, that after a president leaves office. The fundamental principle of our justice system is that no person is above the law. That's always been the tradition in this country. It hasn't been tested to the degree of a former president being charged with crimes. That's never happened.
Trump's chances of re-election are further affected by multiple potential Republican opponents, including Nikki Haley, Ron DeSantis, and former Vice President Mike Pence, among others. As the trial begins, Trump supporters are preparing to protest in New York. According to ABC, the NYPD is preparing for large-scale dissent if Trump is officially indicted. On Tuesday, there were multiple bomb threats called in across Manhattan, including a threat on the courthouse where the case is being heard. This threat caused the hearing to be delayed, but soon resumed as the police deemed the calls unfounded. This is a developing story, and we will continue to update you on the case and the situation in New York.
Michael Knowles, a conservative political commentator for the Daily Wire, delivered a speech at the PMU on Thursday. Students were divided, as Knowles has been enwrapped in controversy over statements against the transgender community. The speech, entitled Our National Identity Disorder, was organized by Purdue College Republicans and paid for with a SOCA grant, which is the student organization grant allocated by Purdue student government. Responses to Knowles' visit included a protest organized by the Young Democratic Socialists of America and an event titled Eradicate Transphobia Block Party, organized by the LGBTQ Cultural Center. Tensions ran high on this Thursday evening as students on both sides of the aisle invoked their right to freedom of speech, as encouraged by Purdue's official statement.
The Federal Reserve has raised interest rates for the 9th time this year in an effort to combat inflation. This 0.25% raise was decided unanimously despite 2 regional banks failing recently, causing significant stress on the banking industry.
That we have the tools to protect depositors when there's a threat of serious harm to the economy or to the financial system, and we're prepared to use those tools. And I think depositors should assume that their deposits are safe.
Members of the committee believe slightly higher rates may assist in restoring price stability and bringing the United States to a more confident and comfortable sitting with the nation's banks.
And speaking of those recent banks' failings, the global banking industry is said to be stressed as the U.S. faces its biggest financial scare since 2008. According to PBS, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank were shut down and seized by the FDIC after large customer withdrawals at both. Despite giant plummets in bank stocks across the country as a result, the Fed is confident that the banking contagion is under control. Fed Chair Jerome Powell assures depositors that this week that banks have stabilized and we have the tools to protect depositors. Some politicians, including Republican Patrick McHenry, still have questions.
We need to understand the decisions that were made last weekend from Thursday until Sunday night on whether or not there's a viable private sector solution. We also need to understand the underlying causes of the collapse of these banks, and we're going to get to that. The question of the San Francisco Fed is a question of supervision. We need to get to the bottom of whether or not this is a supervisory problem, a regulatory problem, a bank mismanagement problem, perhaps all three.
The collapses of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank represent the second and third largest bank failures in U.S. financial history.
Over the last few weeks, California has been hit with storm after storm, causing parts of the state to declare a state of emergency. California typically gets 14 inches of rainfall annually. Now, 2 months into 2023, the state has already exceeded that number. The number of feet of snow is beyond comparison. In the Sierra Nevada mountains, there has been more than 50 feet of snowfall since the end of February. The highest amount of snowfall in California was in 1938, with more than 68 feet. As storms continue to roll in, many are afraid that they might reach that number again. The rain and snow might also brought towns such as Big Bear to their knees. They experienced heavy snow throughout the year, which led them to run out of gas for a few weeks, leaving many without power or heat. Many buildings have been damaged, and the government is working non-stop to help get the city functional again. Up next, anybody who drinks Jack Daniels may want to pay extra attention to the bottle. The Supreme Court heard a trademark case that involved the whiskey and dog poop.
Here are these two things even correlate after the break. More next on Watching Washington.
Hi there, my name is Vikram Jaithlak, and I'm the founder and president of the Purdue chapter of the University Blood Initiative. Over the past 2 years, we've been able to collect over 300 pints of blood to be donated to local hospitals, and you can be the next one to help out.
I donate my blood at the University Blood Initiative.
Hi, I just donated blood through the University Blood Initiative.
Hi, I just donated blood through the University Blood Initiative at Purdue.
Right, I donated my blood through the University Blood Initiative at Purdue.
And I donated my blood at University Blood Initiative at Purdue.
Last week, the U.S. military announced an Air Force drone had been forced down by a Russian fighter jet. According to CNN, the drone and two of Russia's aircraft were flying over international waters, the Black Sea, where the aircraft intentionally flew in the front of and in the vicinity of the drone. Air Force General James B. Hecker stated, "In fact, this unsafe and unprofessional act by the Russians nearly caused both aircrafts to crash." This is the first incident where military aircraft from both countries may have had physical contact and could potentially cause a rise in tensions. The National Security Council Communications Coordinator John Kirby has since said that it is unlikely that there will be a recovery effort and the drone will be found due to deep waters in the Black Sea.
On Tuesday, the Ugandan government has officially banned identification of individuals as LGBTQ. According to this new law, anyone found promoting or participating in the queer community faces up to 10 to 20 years in prison. His law has been met with widespread condemnation from human rights organizations, advocacy groups, foreign governments, and international organizations. The United States, for example, issued a statement calling on the Ugandan government to respect the rights of all individuals, regardless of the sexual orientation or gender identity.
The Supreme Court heard some interesting and quite humorous arguments on Wednesday. Famous whiskey company Jack Daniels is attempting to stop the production and marketing of a dog toy called Bad Spaniels. According to NPR, the whiskey company claimed that the toy manufactured by VIP Products violates trademark law due to the toy being shaped and decorated to mimic a bottle of Jack Daniels. They also claim the toy tarnishes Jack Daniels' reputation by promising 43% poo by volume instead of 40% alcohol by volume. VIP has a sample stance on the matter with this quote, "Freedom of speech begins with freedom to mock." A district court has ruled in favor of Jack Daniels, but an appeals court sided with VIP.
Just yesterday, a massive showdown between TikTok's CEO and U.S. lawmakers took place before Congress over national security concerns. The House Energy and Commerce Committee grilled Chu over user privacy, security practices, and the negative impact of TikTok on children. Mike Valerio has a story.
150 million Americans who love our platform.
TikTok CEO facing U.S. lawmakers for the first time on Capitol Hill in a heated hearing.
We do not trust TikTok will ever embrace American values. TikTok has repeatedly chosen the path for more control, more surveillance, and more manipulation. Your platform should be banned.
U.S. lawmakers repeating calls for the ban of the video app based on national security concerns about the app's ability to collect data from its users. But TikTok CEO maintains the app doesn't collect any more data than other social media companies.
We will firewall protected U.S. data from unwanted foreign access.
CEO Shou Chu fighting back, attempting to reassure Congress his company has taken action to resolve fears the Chinese government could gain access to TikTok user data.
The bottom line is this: American data stored on American soil by an American company, overseen by American personnel.
But in the eyes of some experts, an all-out TikTok ban is unlikely.
This app has millions of users. Right, so free speech and all of these other considerations come into play, and that's why I think we're far less likely to get a full ban and more likely to see some kind of potentially middle ground restriction.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
This hearing marks Chu's first appearance before Congress as politicians from both sides of the aisle call for TikTok's ban in the U.S. Many more hearings are expected in the coming months to determine if TikTok's 150 million plus users will be able to remain on the app.
Our in-studio guest this week is Purdue Professor Michael Johnston to discuss how Purdue can reduce its impact on the environment.
The full interview just ahead on Watching Washington.
You're watching Fast Track News.
The Center for C-SPAN, which is this organization, the CCSC, what we do is we facilitate like a bunch of organizations, different programs for Brian Lamb, which is the founder of C-SPAN. Anyone can be part of CCSC, whether it be through our various internships, our competitions, just to be involved, even like our student community meetings that we have every week. Anyone can go, you don't have to be communications or poli-sci. You just meet so many people, the connections you make is kind of crazy, the range that CCSC has. So yeah, it's just provided me so many opportunities to like kind of achieve the goals I have personally and forward to like whatever career paths I choose.
We have a special guest this week with us, Professor Michael Johnston, to answer our questions about climate change and Purdue's environmental impact.
Allie, take it away.
Thanks, Jaden. Today I have Professor Michael Johnston with me. Thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Perfect. So today we're going to talk a little bit about climate change as well as Purdue Climate Action Collective on campus and the town hall that recently happened over spring break. So my first question for you is, can you give us, our audience, a little insight as to what the Purdue Climate Action Collective is and what they've been doing so far on Purdue's campus?
Yes, so it's a group that consists of some graduate students, some faculty, and some undergraduates. It really started as a faculty group. In the fall, I started gathering together faculty who were interested in helping push Purdue to become carbon neutral, and then we started reaching out to undergrad student groups and people from the graduate student government. And so we're a group of people that want to kind of raise our voices to push Purdue to commit to reducing its carbon footprint.
Right, and so you said this is a newly formed group, correct?
That's right, yep.
So have you done anything else so far, besides the town hall, to kind of push that carbon neutral ideal on Purdue?
Yeah, well, I mean, so behind the scenes, we've been having lots of meetings thinking about our strategy, and then the town hall was our first sort of public event.
Okay.
From there, the University Senate, shortly after the town hall, was taking up a carbon neutral resolution as well, calling on the university to go carbon neutral. So we spent a lot of our effort kind of contacting senators and making sure that the vote passed, and it did on Monday, the Monday after spring break, the 20th.
Right.
And so our next action is going to be to sort of take all this energy and go to the administration and say,
right.
act
And so,
on this stuff. Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about the town hall? You know, how students and faculty alike were able to be involved in it, and how what you tried to bring to attention, as Purdue is one of the only Big Ten schools that is not
That's
carbon
right.
neutral. Okay.
Well, that doesn't have a plan for carbon neutrality yet. I don't think any university in the Big Ten is actually carbon neutral now. Although Ball State is technically carbon neutral by this point. Yeah, the town hall was a chance for, we had a group of speakers. We had, I think, 6 or 7 speakers, some community members, some faculty members, some undergraduates, who talked about the issue of climate change and Purdue's community, and why it's important that we, you know, as a large institution, why it's important that we lower our carbon footprint. So it was a chance to have some speakers, you know, announce to the public what we're doing, bring people into the room. We had over 100 people in attendance, so it was a chance to get people together and let them share their ideas.
Right.
So it was kind of like a galvanizing energy as we move forward, and hopefully start working with the administration to work on concrete steps.
Right. And can you give us a little insight as to what maybe some of those concrete steps could be for the future?
Absolutely. So our group, the Purdue Climate Action Collective, has developed a series of requests, and one of them is that Purdue commit to a plan for carbon neutrality, develop a climate action plan that has a date by which, you know, Purdue will aim to be carbon neutral, and we want that date to be in line with our Big Ten peers.
Okay.
And then we would like Purdue to make a commitment to working towards this by the end of this year. So take some time, think about it, but by the end of this year, we're hoping, the calendar year, not academic year, that they would make a commitment. And then we also want, we're asking them to be transparent and kind of keep stakeholders at the table in terms of the implementation of this.
Right. So how can, you know, everyday students who may not even know about the organization, how can they work towards helping Purdue become carbon neutral or work towards that goal?
The best thing to do would be to join the group, join the Purdue Climate Action Collective. We have a kind of undergraduate wing, we have a graduate student wing, and we have a faculty wing. And so, you know, if they join the undergraduate wing, that means they're on the email list. They can help out with our next set of actions, et cetera.
Okay, perfect. Well, I think that is all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much, Dr. Johnston, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having
me. We really
me.
appreciate it.
Yep.
And that is all that we have for you. Thank you for watching Washington, and have a great day.